The year is 2007, and every child is asking for one thing for Christmas: Wii Fit. That's right, the Wii was already tricking us into exercising with their video games, and now it was time for Wii Fit to take it to a whole new level. It was such a success that it had 2 sequels. I don't know about you guys, but I loved playing Wii Fit as a kid. I found all the mini-games to be so fun, and I would play them all the time. Some of the games were really enjoyable to me, while others I hated because I was terrible at them. And I feel like this was the case for a lot of kids at the time. It was a big part of many childhoods. So today, I thought it would be fun to take a trip down memory lane by not just revisiting all of the Wii Fit minigames, but by ranking them too. From S to F, we're going to rank every single minigame in every single Wii Fit. And when I say minigame, I mean minigame. We're not ranking the actual exercises with the Wii Fit trainers. That'd just be boring. And I know when I was a kid, I avoided those like the plague. But before we get into the ranking, it's time for the disclaimer. Please do not consider this video to be a serious review. We're just here to have some fun and discuss these old games while occasionally making dumb jokes. I'm going to talk a bit about gameplay, but I'm not going to praise or critique it, because that's not the point of this video. Also, my tier list could very well end up being very different from what yours would be. We're all human, we're all biased, and honestly, the reasoning for some of my rankings is going to be downright silly. But you know what? It's okay, because I actually think it'll be really fun to see how we all had different favorite games. Okay, the disclaimer is over, so let's get into it. Let's rank every Wii Fit minigame. In this game, all of your Miis kick soccer balls at you, and you have to move back and forth so you can hit as many as you can with your head. The Miis will also occasionally kick cleats and panda heads at you, which you need to dodge. I always wanted to know how the Miis were able to kick cleats so perfectly. That shouldn't be possible. This game is pretty simple, but I've always found it fun, and I played this one a lot as a kid. It's fun to try and see how high you can get your final score. Maybe this is generous, but I'm going to put it in the A tier. Move back and forth to ski through the gates as you go down the hill. I have always hated this game. For whatever reason, I've never been able to do this one. The gates are too close together. I can't correct myself in time for the next one. So I always end up either over or under shooting them. This game just frustrates me every time I play it. I'm putting it in the D tier. We're back on the skis again, except this time we're jumping off this ramp and holding our balance, trying to see how far we can go. If you fall, you hit the ground and roll down the hill in a giant snowball. I much prefer this over ski slalom. There's way less moving around on this one. Now, was there always a 50-50 chance that I would fail and turn into a giant snowball? Yes, but at least that's entertaining to watch. I do like this one better, but overall it's pretty quick and there's not much to it, so I'm putting it in the C tier. Use the balance board to, yep, you guessed it, tilt the table. Your goal is to get these balls with pictures of your Miis on them through the holes before time runs out. If you succeed, more time is added to the clock. If one of the balls falls off, the whole table shakes, making things more difficult for a few seconds. You do this until you reach the bottom where all of the balls turn into real Miis. I'd say that overall I do like this one, but it is a long game, so it gets old pretty fast. So I actually didn't play this one too much. I feel like putting it in the B tier is too nice, but putting it in the C tier is too harsh. I'll be nice and put it in the B tier. Slowly walk across this tightrope and hop over obstacles in order to get to the other side. I honestly don't know that I ever succeeded at this one. Clearly I was doing something wrong. The way the camera moves as you walk definitely throws me off and makes it feel like I'm way off balance. Now, to be fair, when I was a kid, I only tried this one a few times and was mad that I failed and would just never play it again. But I still have a grudge against it. I'm giving it points for being a creative idea though and putting it in the C tier. You're in a bubble in a river and have to steer around this course until you reach the end. This one is very forgettable to me. I mean, I literally forgot about it until I started working on this video. It's going in the C tier. You play as a penguin on an iceberg. Shift your weight back and forth to catch as many fish as possible without falling off. I played this one all the time as a kid for 2 reasons. The first is that back then, I loved penguins. They were my favorite animal. I don't really know why, but they were. So obviously, I was going to love a penguin-themed minigame. The other reason is that I actually found it fun. I think it's a cute and creative idea for the balance board. I'm putting it in the A tier. This game is exactly like ski slalom, but now you have to turn the balance board sideways to simulate being on a snowboard. I was even worse at this one than I was at ski slalom. Something about turning the board sideways really threw me off and made my balance even worse. It's gonna go right down with the ski slalom in the D tier. Sit on the balance board and remain perfectly still until the candle goes out. The premise of this game sounds chill and easy, But let's be honest, we were all terrified of this game as kids. At least that's the case for most people I've talked to and a lot of comments I've seen on the internet. First of all, the game starts with this voice that I've always found creepy.
Begin.
You have to sit there in total darkness as the game starts to play a bunch of eerie noises to try and get you to lose focus and move. Which, by the way, I feel like this game was so easy to lose. I swear, there were so many times I wasn't moving, but I would lose anyway. Oh, and when you do lose, it's awful because the game jump scares you.
Cut!
Whose idea was this? If you win, you don't get jump scared, but you do have to hear the creepy voice again.
And that's the end.
This game is just scary, okay? I hated it back then, and I hate it now. So it is going straight to the F tier. Hula hoop until the time runs out. Other Miis will throw more hula hoops at you, and you have to lean over to catch them without letting your other hoops drop. I was pretty bad at this game, but I also struggled with hula hooping in real life, so it makes sense. I don't hate it though. I think this game was a good idea. It's going in the B tier. Follow the instructions on the screen to step on and off the balance board to the beat. So this game is set up like you and all of your Miis are performing a show, which I didn't really think much of as a kid, but now it's just hilarious. Like, can you imagine going to watch a group of people step on and off of their balance board while flapping their arms? And the crowd is eating it up. They love it. Silliness aside, I always thought this one was really fun, and the song is honestly a bop. Say hello to our first S tier. Take a nice jog around Woohoo Island from Wii Sports Resort. There are all sorts of variations too. You can run a long distance, a short distance, you can follow a human or a dog. Not to mention, you get to run around Woohoo Island. This is the closest we could get to freely exploring the island, which I know I always wanted to do as a kid. I played this game a lot, not so I could go on a run, but to look at all the scenery. Also, if you find people falling funny, sometimes you get to see one of your Miis totally eat it. Running is going in the S tier. Work with your boxing trainer to throw punches and box to the beat. This was probably my most played minigame as a kid. There's just something so fun about boxing to the beat of the music. And at the end, you get to go crazy and punch however you want, which was a great idea because you know that's all kids wanted to do. Now, let's talk about the song. Absolute banger.
Right, left, block. Left, right, block.
It has no business being that fun and catchy. About 2 weeks ago, I woke up with this song stuck in my head for literally no reason. I was just going about my day thinking, right, left, block. And that is the story of how I came up with the idea for this video. Anyway, if it wasn't obvious, this is going in the S tier. You have to bump into numbers that add up to 10. I hate math. Get it out of my game. F tier. Ride your bike around Woohoo Island and ride through different targets in the area to win. This is another one I love to do since you get to run around Woohoo Island. I definitely liked running more though because cycling was more challenging with the controls and having to go through all the targets, but I still think it's an S tier. Do the correct kung fu moves to the beat of the music. Yet another game with music that would get stuck in my head. This one is pretty simple though, and not quite as fun as the other rhythm games, so I'm putting it in the A tier. There's not much to say about this one. It's a driving range. I think this one is pretty forgettable. Also, I hate golf in every Wii game. I'm always terrible at it. But for the sake of trying to be fair, I'll put it in the C tier, even though I'd like to put it in D. Drive a Segway around and pop the balloons in the ground before they deflate. Then at the end, chase around this little animatronic dude who has a balloon attached to him. This is yet another one I was terrible at. Like the ski slalom, I was awful at driving this thing around, okay? I was flying all over the place. And it is for that reason it is going down to the D tier with the ski slalom. In this one, you're wearing a chicken costume, and you have to flap your arms to fly to the different targets on the course. For whatever reason, no matter how hard I would flap my arms, I would always fail at this one. I don't know if it wasn't registering me properly, or if I just suck. I probably just suck. Anyway, this one is fine. I think it's kind of forgettable, but it's also better than a lot of the games in the C tier, so we're putting it in B. Lean left to right to pop out from behind the barrier and throw snowballs at your Miis. This one is simple, but I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, come on, it's funny to throw snowballs at your Miis. S tier. Run through a dangerous obstacle course to advance to an even harder obstacle course. You just have to run in place to play this one, so nice and easy mechanics. I thought this game was fun. I loved being able to run around the obstacle course. I'm realizing that I really liked games where I was able to somewhat move around freely. And even though I failed a lot, it's okay, because it's funny to see your Mii go flying after they get hit by a wrecking ball. S tier. Tilt the Wii remote and your body on the balance board to land colored balls into tubes of the same color, creating pretty fireworks. This game offers a good challenge while also being super chill with the music and vibe. I like it. I'm putting it in the A tier. March around to the beat of the music. The better your rhythm, the more members of the band will be added to your parade. I think this one is fun, even though all you're really doing is marching to the beat. The music is good, and I like watching the parade go around. Maybe people don't care about this one too much, but for me it's an S tier. For some reason, I have no memory of this game. I'm guessing that I must have played it once as a kid, hated it, and then never played it again. In this one, you have to balance on a ball while juggling until the time runs out. This game is fine, I guess. It's kind of hard, but I struggled with the slalom games more. I'm putting it in the C tier, mostly because this game was forgettable enough that my brain literally deleted it. This one controls like the snowboard game, except now I can get turned around and go in circles because I'm in an arena and not going down a hill. So yeah, how do you think I felt about this one? I am going to be nice though and put it in the C tier because I think this one is pretty cool looking and it's neat how you can skate around the arena and do tricks, even if I suck at it. So those were all the minigames in the original Wii Fit and the sequel Wii Fit Plus. At first, I thought that this was going to be the end of our tier list, but in the process of making this video, I discovered that a few years later, Wii Fit U was released. I had no idea this game existed. Look, I was 14 at the time. I was very busy being an angsty teenager. But this means that we have more games to rank. Now, we're only going to rank the brand new ones. There are different versions of running and cycling and the other games, but at the end of the day, they're still pretty much the same as the originals, so my opinion on them won't be any different. Alright, let's do it. All you really do in this one is hit a ball at different colored tiles, but as someone who always loved tennis and Wii Sports, I find this one oddly enjoyable. B tier. Jump really high in the air on this trampoline and stick the landing. This one is going to destroy you if you hate squats, but you are playing Wii Fit, so that's not exactly a bad thing. This one is simple but challenging and kind of fun. Another B tier. Muddy Miis run at you, and you have to spray them down with water before they reach you. There is something oddly unsettling about a bunch of muddy Miis running straight at you with malicious intent. All that happens if they reach you is that you get a little muddy, but I don't know. The Miis feel evil in this one. I think the game itself is kind of boring since you're just putting one foot down on the board and moving to spray, and the Miis are just bullies. So this one is going in the C tier. This one is kind of weird because it feels like more of an exercise for your mind than your body. You're given a picture of a Mii and you have to run around the island to find them. You'd think I'd like this one since you can kind of free roam around the island, and I love that in running and cycling, but I have such a terrible sense of direction that this one just stresses me out. C tier. I know that I would have loved this one as a kid. You have to walk around this restaurant and deliver dessert to all the different guests, using the gamepad as the tray you have to balance the food on. Child Morgan would have loved walking around this restaurant and acting like I owned the place. This was just right up my alley, okay? I love to pretend that I could actually be in these locations. I was very imaginative and big on playing pretend. Also, if you bump into the Miis, they get really mad, which I think is funny. This is an A tier. You have to row a boat in sync with the other Miis on your crew. I find the controls on this one to be kind of hard, and there's a Mii constantly yelling, "And stroke!" which is just annoying. D tier. You have to slide down this course while leaning back on the balance board like it's a sled, and shift side to side to steer. And while you're doing all of that, you have to lift your head up and look at the screen. I wanted to like this game because it's a cool concept, but dear God, you're stuck in an uncomfortable position. And for that, it is going in the D tier. Dive underwater and search for treasure. This one is very cool looking. I like how you can explore underwater and see different fish. However, the camera when you're about to dive down, oh God, it's awful and it makes me feel sick. That is only a small part of it though. I'm not going to knock off too many points for that. So I'm putting it in the B tier. Use the board and remote to climb up the rock wall. This one reminds me of the scene from The Princess Diaries where they go rock climbing, which little me always thought looked very cool, so I'm putting this one in the B tier. Remember way back at the start of this video when I said that I would have some silly reasons for some of my rankings? And honestly, the reasoning for some of my rankings is going to be downright silly. Alright, we have reached the final game on the list. I wasn't sure if I was going to include this one because it could be grouped with the regular exercises, but it's different enough and it feels like a game, so let's rank it. In dancing, you follow a trainer who will teach you different moves to a dance and you follow along. After a few minutes, you'll put together everything you learned and do the whole dance. I think this one is really cool. Sure, the dances you learn aren't anything special, since you're just using a Wii remote and a balance board, but it's still neat, and there's a lot of different dances to learn. I know I would have played this all the time as a kid. It is such a fun and good idea. It's going in the S tier. Alright, as they say in Lotus Focus,
And that's the end.
we have ranked all of the Wii Fit games. Let's take a final look at our list here. So, I think it's pretty obvious that I have a preference for rhythm games, which actually makes a lot of sense, because I am a fan of rhythm games. I also love any game where you can kind of walk around. They were great for little me who liked to use her imagination and pretend she was really there. It is kind of funny to see how all the rhythm games and the ones where you walk around are high up though. And yep, I definitely hated slaloms. But much like my video where I ranked Lego games, I am a biased person, and I'm sure some of you guys would put all these rhythm games down at the bottom. And I bet some of you love ski slalom and have no idea why I was terrible at it. So I would love to know what your favorite games were as a kid. It's fun to do these videos and see which games we all loved and which ones have more mixed opinions. I would also like to know which games we all universally hated. I know a lot of people hate Lotus Focus, myself included, but there has to be someone out there who likes it, right? I don't know, is that possible? But anyway, I hope that this video was able to make you nostalgic for the days when Wii Fit was all the rage. I've now ranked Lego games and Wii Fit games, so if there's something else you would like me to rank, let me know in the comments below. Wii Sports? Wii Party? I don't know, let me know what you guys would like to see. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to see more content from me. And yeah, that is going to do it for me today. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!